What's up, YouTube? Salam alaikum. How are you? How's everyone? Hope everyone is doing good. So, today we're going to talk about Andrew Tate latest interview with Kathy Newman. Oh, sorry, with Piers Morgan. There's no an actual difference between like the physical feature between both. They use the same tactics, the same techniques, and like by trying to put the other party in sequence of trap. So if he survive one, he will the next trap will catch him. But Andrew Tate was very smart, like responding to these traps. But he was unusually polite. Okay, I didn't expect that from him. Maybe the impression, the pressure of being on a big platform, that affects him a little bit. But he did good job generally. So let's jump into it. By the way, guys, if anybody I'm thinking about to start a mentorship program, as one of the client asked me before, an American client told me like, why don't you make a mentorship program, which is it's a gathering for a group of men, online gathering of a group of men, maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month, to talk about their challenges, their issues, and to try to improve each other, to get an experience from each other, to learn. Red pill minded type of men. And of course, there's going to be fees for it. So it will be monthly subscription for well-grown men, red-pilled men who understand the reality. I don't need simps. I don't need women in my group. No. So I'm thinking about that. Like, write me a comment if you accept. If you accept that, if you think it's a great idea, because a lot of red pill content creator, a lot of professional red pill content creator, they have their own group. So I got that suggestion from clients. So let me know what you think about it in comments. And if you want to comment here live, like you can send your comment by super chat. You can support the channel and ask your question. Okay, let's jump into it, guys. Here is it, which is released around in 2 days ago. 2 days ago, they released the full interview. He released a short clip of it, around 6 minutes, a few days ago, and 2 days ago, he released the full interview. So we're not gonna watch the full interview. We're gonna watch most of it. Let's say the most important parts of it, and we will break down like this liberal idiot technique of attacking Andrew Tate and shaming the masculinity. He's a real fucking idiot. Like, I'm gonna be so straightforward. I'm a type of man who do not give a fuck about what people think about my language when I explain something. So I will be very fucking straightforward. He's a real big idiot. Of course, who work in mainstream, he will be a fucking idiot. So let's jump into it.
So one of the most infamous men in the world, Andrew Tate's misogynistic tirades have been viewed.
Misogynistic tirade. That's how he described him.
Billions of times online. He's now been effectively banned, though, from the internet.
Let's jump into the talk.
And exposed for what they are. If they're silenced, the person holding these views can become a martyr. So that's why I invited Andrew Tate to come here tonight, and he joins me now live. So Andrew, well, welcome, first of all. You come all the way from Romania to do this interview.
Correct.
What do you hope to achieve from this interview? Why are you here?
It'd be interesting to have a conversation with you. You've certainly been the subject of your own divided opinions in the world. There's a lot of people who would say some of the things you say are perhaps dangerous or toxic. So I thought you'd be a good person to speak to about this subject.
I didn't know much about you before this year.
Yeah, because you're an idiot living under a rock. The man is the most searched person on the planet on the Google in the search engines, and you don't know, he got more than 20 billion view in the past like 4 months in the social media, and you never heard of him. That proven that you live in a fucking bubble.
Then I suddenly became very aware of you, as the world did, because as I said earlier, you were the #1 subject
By your children. Your children ask you about Andrew Tate. That's how you know Andrew Tate.
searched on Google ahead of Donald Trump. I didn't think it was even possible.
Yeah.
Why did you get suddenly so popular stroke infamous, do you think?
I exploded. I certainly didn't do that with magic. I've been on the internet for a very long time. I think in the world we live in now, as the other side, the people who disagree with me, as they get more and more tyrannical in their censorships and their hate mobs, etc., as standard masculine practices are deemed toxic, I didn't put a magic spell on everybody. I managed to accumulate a large amount of affinity with the male populace across the Western world, because I'm simply saying things that many men believe, think, and feel.
The problem I would say is, I want to play you just a clip off the top. This is from Joe Rogan, who's somebody I absolutely love.
Sure.
And I think it explains to me what I presume my issue with you is going to be, right?
Correct.
And you
All right,
you have absolutely got the right to try and persuade me otherwise.
Sure.
But Joe Rogan said this about you.
My 12-year-old and my 14-year-old asked me about Andrew Tate.
And
My
what'd you say?
14-year-old
What'd you
asked
say?
me, I said he's a legit world champion kickboxer. I go, I like him a lot. Why do you like him? And I was asking him. They said he says a lot of funny stuff on Twitter and TikTok. He f***ed up with the misogynist.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if he didn't do that, if he just did the pro-male stuff.
So I thought that was interesting, because
Even that, guys, you have to understand, it is the most famous and used technique from the mainstream social media fucking idiots, which is sound bites and sound clips and clip bites out of a full fucking conversation. Like, I will talk for 2 fucking hours. They will take 3 seconds out of it and use it to attack me. And by this tactic, I can attack literally every single intellectual speaker on any fucking platform. Because I can take bites out of any context and make it look bad. That's the main technique they use. So he will keep using that. I will remind you through the interview. He will keep using that over and over and over and over. Let's go.
when I've gone over everything that's been at the center of the debate about Andrew Tate, I come down with Joe Rogan in the sense that there's a lot of stuff you say I agree with. You know, I've got 3 sons in their 20s. It's not easy actually being a young male in the modern world. And I think a lot of the things that you say about that can resonate with them. The problem comes with the, I don't know, 10, 20% or whatever of your output, which on the face of it appears to be blatant misogyny. And when you couple that with your massive influence and huge reach, that is why the social media companies have decided to effectively cancel you. I don't believe in cancellation. I don't believe in censorship particularly. That's why I've invited you to come on the show. But I do think a lot of the things you've said are blatant misogyny. Do you accept that?
So you made a very interesting point there. You just said on the face of it appear to be blatantly misogynistic. I understand that on the face of some of the long format content I've made, if you're going to take a few seconds out of hours, chop it up, put it all over social media, accompanied with my massive fame, then things can absolutely not be taken out of context. I do not hate women in any regard. I have no negative relationship with women. No women have come forward saying I've hurt them. I have no criminal record for hurting women. There's no way I can be seen as the face or the devil in regards to how men treat women on the planet. I'm absolutely and utterly the opposite. I believe in protecting and providing. I've been misunderstood. There's been large contingents of people who have tried very hard to purport lies about me. And the truth of the matter is I've been producing content for a very long time. Hours and hours of videos been cut down to 2 or 3 seconds of clip. Those clips have gone viral and people misunderstand me.
But I think you've used this phrase and be taken out of context. And I'm not sure that is correct in the sense that it's...
Yeah, you don't have the intellectual capabilities to understand this idea, Piers.
It all comes out of your mouth. And some of the things...
Completely.
Some of the things...
Something come out of your mouth. Of course, it's something come out of your mouth. Of course. But you have to understand the full fucking context of these words.
You said, I just think are blatantly.
Well, let's do them. Let's hear them.
Let's go through some.
Sure.
Right. So you said this about Me Too stroke rape. This is probably 40% of the reason I moved to Romania. In Eastern Europe, none of this garbage flies. You go to the police and say he raped me back in 1988. They'll say, well, you should have done something about it back then.
Yeah, so the point I was making was obviously at the height of the Me Too scandal, and also if we look at Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, there's been a lot of high-profile cases where men have been accused of things they did not do without evidence, and their lives have been completely and utterly destroyed.
Right.
When I say these things, people sit and say that, oh, he hates women. I don't hate women. I think rape is disgusting. I would take a stronger stance on rape than the British government. I think these people should face the death penalty. But to sit and say that women without evidence can go forward and just make up accusations against men, even though they've been repeatedly proven to destroy men's lives at will, is absolutely not.
What about a woman who was raped back in 1988 and goes to the police?
Then the man should face absolute and complete justice.
But do you understand that when that clip appears on TikTok as a clip, and all right.
And watch out, guys. Watch out. How many times he interrupted him before he complete his idea? If I have a counter, I will find more than 50 times in this fucking interview. He interrupted him before he complete his idea. He's a master of interruption. He's the female version, like the male version of Kathy Newman. You remember Kathy Newman with Dr. Jordan Peterson? So in the middle of the sentence, so what you mean is, so what you're saying is, that's a fucked up technique. Like, it makes you look like a clown, Pierre.
As a clip, completely.
Okay, but it's still something that came out of your mouth. Do you accept that when that...
Look at the weak, poor, funny argument. It took out of context. Yeah, but it comes from your mouth. I'm not saying it did not come out of my mouth. He's saying that there is a bigger context of the idea that you're taking 3 seconds clip out of it. If you want to understand the full idea, you have to listen to the whole conversation to understand where is he coming from. So it is very fucking simple. I can quote something from Quran, and I can quote something from Bible, like just 5 to 6 words, and you will feel it is very bad. But in the whole context, these people whom I'm fighting for, they are trying to occupy my country, to kill my children. That's why it tells me to fight them. So if you took out these 3 or 4 words, you will feel it is bad. But when you look at the whole sentences, the whole subject, the whole context, you'll understand, no, it is really good, actually. What he's saying is really good. Let's get back to it.
Appears on TikTok, a lot of young, maybe not as smart as you, young men, right? Impressionable, teenagers will read that and go, what's he saying here? Is he saying that rape doesn't exist?
No, I completely. I'm not going to sit here as a professional and say that I can't be taken out of context. What I will say is that one small sentence you've taken was from a 1-hour video where I explained that, of course, rape is disgusting. Of course, everybody should be punished for their crimes regardless of when they happen. But people are not perfect, male and female. And if you give women the opportunity to destroy men's lives without evidence, there's going to be a contingent of women who will do that. I'm trying to make a balanced and nuanced argument in a world where people have no attention span. They're going to take a few seconds, put it online, decide someone's good or bad, not be interested in the longer format video. And here I am. No, I'm certainly a person who takes personal responsibility. That's who I am as a person. But we live in a world now with TikTok videos 5 or 6 seconds long. There's no content.
Do you think women are the property of men?
No. The point I was making.
Why have you said they are?
Because I made a religious point. I said that when a man marries.
Okay, let's mention that. In the biblical context, a property does not mean a solid object property. You have to understand the religious context to understand it. So what he's making that the woman is a property of her man. It is not in the literal sense. It's not in the literal sense. When I say this is my woman, it is not the same as this is my car. I have a legal documentation to prove it is mine. I can burn it down to the ground and nobody have anything to say to it. It does not mean that you have to not be NPC, non-playing character, a fucking robot, to understand the context of that. So if you are literalist, You understand letters by the first impression that you get from the letters and the sentence and the words. So you have a very low fucking IQ, Piers. That's the reality of it. So when he mean in a religious context that a woman will go down to the aisle and her father will pass her to the man who will marry her, and she will take his last name, she will obey him, he will protect her and provide to her, and he will be the leader of the relationship, the marriage. That is the frame of the property. It is not an actual property like I own this cup, like I own this watch. It is not. You have to be really fucking stupid to understand it this way.
There's a woman. The woman's father walks her down the aisle, and hands her away to the man. Traditionally, this is what it says in the Bible. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I live in the most
So you
religious
do
country in
think
the world.
that the woman becomes the men?
I think she takes his last name.
I mean, let's watch the clip that you said about this
Sure.
so that we can get it in context.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Absolutely.
But I've been married twice, as it turns out, and on both occasions, I didn't believe that the woman was being handed to me as chattel.
You're a simp who gives a fuck about what you think.
As property.
Perhaps the way the reason I'm asked that question repeatedly, and I'm asked in a loaded way.
So would you rephrase what you said there?
Now, that's an interesting point about phrasing. The way I would say things before I was famous, I have to take personal responsibility and accept that if I make a video that 500 people see and 1% of them misunderstand it, that's not a problem. If I make a video that 5 million people see and 1% of them understand.
So specifically on that point, I think my sister is her husband.
He interrupted him again. Count with me, guys.
It's property.
She took his last name. She married him. She wanted to join his family. She has said it herself.
Right. So she's
still a sovereign individual. She's absolutely not.
But property means that the husband owns your sister.
Listen, my friend, if you want to argue about this, you need to go back to the Bible, to the Quran. You need to argue with religious.
No, I'm not talking about anything in the Bible or Quran.
But that's what it says.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I think that if a woman marries a man and she decides to take his last name, that they have different roles and responsibilities within that marriage, and I believe that.
That's not the question.
I believe the father. The father hands her.
Don't behave like a politician.
The father hands her to the man.
Right, but don't be a politician, because I think you're a straight talk.
He is not a politician. You are a fucking idiot. He is explaining to you. He's explaining to you what did I mean by saying it is his property. She is his property. He's explaining what did I meant by saying that. And because this fucking idiot, look at the trap that he's trying to put him in. He wanted a yes or no answer. And he's keep repeating the fucking question to get yes or no answer, because that's a big trap. Because most of the people who listen to this are fucking idiots and ignorance. Do you believe the woman is the man's property? Yes or no? If he says yes, they say, oh, you think women are objects? They are non-living human being. They are second degree to the man. And if he says no, okay, so you are taking back what you said before. So the both answer will put him in a bad position. You understand that? So that is the trap. He needs yes or no answer. He keep repeating the question to get yes or no answer. That's simple.
Sure.
Right? You keep telling me you're straight talking. I think my sister is her husband's property. Do you regret saying it like that?
I understand that with my newfound fame, perhaps it could be phrased differently. However, I still believe that a woman is given to the man in marriage. That's what I believe.
Yeah, but not as property.
No, the property is the word that other people use when they ask me the question.
But as an equal partner in a loving union. That's what marriage.
Equal partner, my ass, Piers. Equal partner, my ass. That's what you believe, you and the rest of liberal idiots. That's what you believe, you and the left and equality bullshit people. Equal partner, my ass. There's no equal partner. Look, after a few minutes, Andrew Tate will tell him, do you believe that you should protect your woman? He will say, yes, Why, if it's equal partnership, you have to protect women? Because you are a fucking simp. You will provide services without authority. You are happy of being slave. You can have a lot of responsibility without single degree of authority, and that's the definition of slavery. You are happy to being slave to a woman. It is equal partnership. Equal partnership, my ass. No, it is not equal partnership. That is bullshit. That is absolute garbage. No, there's no equal partnership in marriage. If shit's hit the fan, you will be the man. This is not equal. No, it is not. If she want to carry a heavy object, a 200-pound heavy object, you will be the man and carry this shit. So where is the equal fucking partnership? No, there is no equal partnership. Equal partnership, my ass.
Actually means. It doesn't mean that when you get married, the woman is given to you as a bit of chattel.
Agreed.
So why say it?
But that's the way that people ask me the question. People say to me, they ask the
Oh,
question.
hang on. You can't blame people for asking you questions. Surely, if you want to be accountable for what you've said, you've got to own your responses, not blame the question.
I own the response.
It's like me asking you a question now, and you say something, and then say, well, actually, I blame you for asking.
I understand, Piers. Piers, I understand. I believe the woman is given to the man. I believe she's given away by the father. I believe she belongs to the man.
So you
she belongs to the
fundamentally, all right. So fundamentally, you do believe that a woman becomes a man's property at marriage.
I believe she belongs to the man in marriage, correct.
Right. Oh, you see, that to me is misogyny.
And you're entitled to your opinion.
Right. But do you not understand why people think it is misogyny?
I understand why some people can be very offended by what I say. What they do is they take a point like that and they ignore all the other points I make the other way around.
Yeah, but that's why I've repeatedly asked you about that line to see if you've changed your position. But the reality is you haven't.
It's not about changing positions. I'm a full-grown adult and I stick by the things I say and I'm responsible for them.
Which, by the way, is fine.
Absolutely.
But what you did say at the start of this little exchange, you said, you know, I wouldn't maybe say things the same way now that I did before I was famous. And yet, actually, you've doubled down and said exactly the same thing.
On certain points.
So that is what you believe. And that's my point.
Yes.
I'm trying to work out, look, I don't know you. We've just met, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out who Andrew Tate is and what you actually believe. I don't want to twist anything at all.
He's not letting him even fucking answer. Kathy Newman twin.
Let me make it very, very clear to the camera. I believe a woman is given to the man in marriage. I believe that. I also believe a man has a duty to protect and provide for her. I believe a man should lay down his life if something happens or his wife's life is threatened. I believe that women and children first are on the lifeboats.
But men,
I believe that men.
But a man doesn't own a woman.
It's not. No. It's
unless they literally buy them as a slave.
Well, obviously, we're not talking about that. We're talking about religious, biblical marriage. We're talking about something else.
Yeah, but I'm a Christian. I don't believe that I own my wife.
Do you believe your wife was given away to you when she took your last name?
I believe that there is a process where a father traditionally walks his daughter down the aisle and hands his daughter to this man, and they stand there and become a union of two loving people in a partnership. No.
Union of two loving people. This Disney fairy tale fucking delusion about love story, romantic.
There's no ownership involved.
I didn't say
he's not selling.
He didn't say ownership, guys. Look. He's rephrasing what he says and blaming him for it. He never mentioned the word ownership, but he's keep repeating the ownership. He thinks that Andrew Tate is coming from the Middle Age of the 15th century in the mid-Europe. Ta-da! No, he's not.
Yeah, the father of the bride isn't selling his daughter.
No, absolutely.
There's no selling. Pay attention, guys, how he's inserting what they call emotionally charged words. Emotionally charged words to make people resent him and hate him. He's not selling his daughter. He never mentioned that he's selling his daughter. That's a straw man falsification. And that's childish.
Property means.
She becomes a member of your family.
Is it?
I think we're arguing over semantics.
We're not, though, because fundamentally, I don't believe a man owns a woman. You do.
Well, I don't think a man owns any sovereign individual. I don't think we live in the world of slavery. I don't own any men or any woman.
Right.
Nobody owns
When you use phrases like property, that's what you imply.
I understand.
And so my point again is, You're a smart guy, right?
Correct,
There's no
yeah.
denying that. You're
Yeah.
smart. You're a good talker. I've seen a
He's smarter than you, at least.
lot of the stuff. But what I don't think you quite fully understand
No, I
is
understand
that
very well.
when
Piers.
young, impressionable people
I understand
who
that
are
very
not
well.
as smart see things like, I think my sister is her husband's property, yes, and you've just reaffirmed that,
Yeah.
that belief, they think that they have the right to own women.
I understand that very well, Piers. Which
That's
is
why people think you're a misogynist.
completely. I understand all of this very well, which is why when you're saying I was backtracking, I'm not. I'm
Do you have
saying,
any regret, though, over the way you phrase this stuff?
well, this is the point I was trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when I was not nearly as famous and I was making long format content, I was not sitting there anticipating I'd become the most Googled man on the planet and that a few seconds could be taken out of context. That was not my anticipation.
No, but it's
I
still
didn't
what
plan.
you believe. It's what you believe now. So what's the difference?
It's not about, you're asking me, you're saying that young people who are
If
impressed.
you said to me, look, Piers, honestly,
Look, watch very closely, guys, what he's trying to do. He's trying to get words out of his mouth just as what he want. Like he want him literally to say stuff that he want. Listen carefully.
I've had time to think about this, and I wish I hadn't said it. I don't believe that.
People,
It's what you believe now. Hey, look, Piers, honestly, I've had time to think about this, and I wish I hadn't said it. I don't believe that. That's one thing. Actually, you've said the opposite. You said, actually, that's what I think, yeah.
I think that when
It doesn't really matter whether
He doesn't let him even speak.
you recorded it when you're famous or not famous. It's what you actually believe, right?
I believe that a man has a duty to protect and provide for a woman. I believe that a woman's father gives her away to the man. That's what I believe, and that's in my marriage. That's the circumstance I'm going to live under. If people want to live in a different scenario, that's completely theirs. Their prerogative.
You went on to say about authority over women. If I have a responsibility over her, I must have a degree of authority.
Yeah.
For the same reason, if I have responsibility over and people are going to use their mind, it's an example, an analogy. Responsibility over a child, I have to have some authority.
Yeah.
So you believe as part of your ownership or your property of
He said it's not ownership like around 5 times, and he's repeating part of your ownership.
the woman, you have authority over her.
No, I believe if you have
That's what you said.
I believe if you have responsibility over something, you have to have a degree of authority or you can't be responsible.
Yeah, but authority means, again, that you're the boss.
The point I'm making, if you'll please let me finish
Sure.
at this point. The point I was trying to make was talking about the safety of a woman. She was walking alone at night. And I was saying, well, I wouldn't let my woman walk alone at night. And they said, well, you're not in charge of her. You don't get to decide what she does. I said, I understand. But if I'm responsible for her safety and I'm the person who's burdened with making sure she is safe, I have to have the authority to say, don't put yourself in unsafe situations. The two things are linked.
Well, you don't have authority. You have you can absolutely have the right.
Look, this fucking idiot, Piers Morgan, had never ever tested any type of authority over female. That's why it is a mind-blowing concept for him. This is mind-blowing. You want authority over your wife? Whoa, god damn it. What is that? Like, it is like inventing the fucking wheel. It is like discovering the fire. Oh god, this is hot thing. Like, we can cook on it. So it is fucking mind-blowing for him. You mean you have authority over women? Yeah. Hello. Around 4 billion people here. They have two religions that tells them you have authority over your woman. 4 billion people on this planet, at least that I know, which is Christianity and Islam, or 4.5 billion people. They all, the religion of them all, it will give the authority for the man over the woman. Ta-da! Surprise, right? Is that surprise? Is that mind-blowing? You have to read a little bit, you fucking idiot. Why you are so offended by it? Oh, you say you have authority over a woman. Yeah, I have an authority over a woman. Yes. Congratulations, you fucking idiot.
To say to the woman you're with, I don't think you should. But ultimately,
If she decides, then I can't force her.
Right.
Of
So
course.
authority implies that you have the ability to control someone.
No, authority implies that I have the moral right.
Authority, it means the ability to influence someone, not ability to control someone. Yeah. And part of the authority, the ability of leaving, of breaking the relationship. That's why the divorce is in man's hand in Islam. That's why the woman can divorce her husband. The man can divorce his woman. That's why we call it al-isma, which is the capability of divorcing the other party. That's in man hand alone. So part of the authority, the ability or the capability to leave and break this relationship, the broke up capability, let's say, or the divorce capability. That's why it's in the man hand alone. It is not in the woman hand alone. And by alone, I mean she can take a solo decision, a solo decision by divorcing her man. She can't do that. No, it is the man's decision. She can complain to the judge in the court, Sharia court, of course. It's not the civil fucking court, the Sharia court. She can complain, and the judge will estimate her reason if she have a good reasons for the divorce or not. But she cannot take this decision by herself alone. She cannot. The man can. The man can do it. This is part of authority, and it's given to the man alone over woman. At least in Islam. I read the Bible. I read the Holy Bible, the full Bible. And I catch a lot of scripts give the authority for the man alone in the marriage. So Muslims and Christians, that's half the fucking planet. They believe that. Their book, their script says that. The men have the authority in the household. Yeah. So, ta-da, surprise, right?
Right to sit and say that that's an irresponsible thing to do, and I'm responsible.
That's not what authority means.
Well, I'm not going to. If you think I'm going to lock somebody up in their room, is that what you're implying?
No, I don't think you know what authority means.
I know what it means. I'm saying that if
I just said a different description of what authority.
If I have responsibility for her safety, then I have to have the authority to tell her not to do unsafe.
Yeah, but authority means that you have some form of control over this woman.
I think you're trying to. What you're trying to.
I'm only trying to get to what you think. Honestly, I am. I come with no agenda here at all.
I understand.
Do you believe that? I do not really believe that. You're a fucking liar, Piers. I do not have any agenda. No, you have agenda. It's very fucking clear that you have agenda. You're trying to shame the man for his masculinity and the idea that he believes in. You're really trying so fucking hard to put him in sequence of traps, sequence of corners, as Dr. Jordan Peterson says. Sequence of corners to make him look bad. You are the female, like the male version of Kathy fucking Newman, the biggest idiot in the fucking planet of the mainstream media. You make yourself look very bad, Piers Morgan. Really fucking bad.
And I'm explaining very, very clearly. If I have responsibility over said subject, I have to have authority of it. So let me say you have children, right?
Right.
You have responsibility for them.
No, I have legal authority over my children. That is very different having legal authority over.
Yeah, because you believe in law, you don't believe in religion. I do not give like a real fuck about the legal authority. I have a religious authority over my women and my children. If the law says that or it didn't, if the law says that or it didn't, the law will not put me in a good place in the afterlife. The law will not put me in a great place. We'll take the law and shove it in your ass. No, I do not. Like my concept, it does not depend. It did not depend on the legal prescription of authority or of the gender roles. Yeah. So I have my own beliefs. What the law says, it's a general frame. But in my day-to-day practice, I have my own belief and my own moral standard. The law in United States says that you can smoke marijuana for like 50 cigarettes every day for the rest of your life. It is totally legal. You can eat like 50 drum thigh from KFC every day until you die out of obesity. It is very legal. It is okay. The law will let you not taking shower or a bath in the next 10 years. It is totally legal. So do I will say or do this stuff because it is legal, because the law will let me do that? No. The law will never prevent you if drinking until get hammered every single day. That's totally legal. So is it a great thing to do that? No, it is not. So the law does not define my moral structure, does not define how do I act in day-to-day life. No, no.
My wife or my female partner.
Completely. But the point I'm trying to make,
So you accept that?
I accept that
Because you used the analogy of responsibility for a child.
my friend, these are very
These are actually really important things.
they're
Andrew.
important things, but you interrupt me every 5 seconds, so it's hard for me to actually explain my point. The point I'm making here is very simple. You have children and you're responsible for their safety, so you're going to have authority to say don't go out at night, perhaps because you want them to be safe.
I have legal authority.
You have a legal authority.
Yeah.
Legal authority.
Fuck your legal authority.
I'm saying that if I had a woman, and the question where you've raised this soundbite from, I was asked about protecting a woman, making sure she's safe. And I would say I wouldn't want her to go out at night on her own because I'm responsible for her safety. And someone said, well, you don't have authority over her to do that. And I said, well, no, I can't force her to stay inside. But if she were to ask me, how do I protect myself at night? I would say, well, you should stay inside. That's how you should do it.
I don't have an issue with what
So
you
we
just said.
agree.
No, because
It's the semantics.
no,
you're
it's not semantics. And this is where I don't think you quite get why there's a furore over what you say, with respect. Because the semantics point would be if we're saying the same thing in different ways, but we're not. I'm saying to you that when you say I have to have some authority over a woman, I say to you, you have no right to any authority over.
Yes, he have the right of authority if he's the main provider in the household, if he's the man, if he's the protector in the household. Yes, he have the right to have authority over women and children. And that's how the fucking world function. You think the world is London? You think the world is the liberal side of London? Really? Do you think the world is the West? Is the democratic West, let's say? The liberal West? No. There's a few fucking idiots that think like you, that you have no authority over women. Oh. But the rest of people, the rest of world population, they think you have to have a degree of authority over your women and children in the household, while you are the main provider and protector, and you are the man of the household. Yes, you have the right to have authority over women. Judaism says that, Christianity says that, and Islam says that. What do you think, Piers Morgan? Nobody gives a fuck about what do you think. If my God says you have an authority over women as a Muslim, and the God says for a Christian you have an authority, you are the head of the woman. The man is the head of his woman. I'm quoting the Bible here. And in Judaism, it says that man have authority over woman. That's the main three religion in the whole world. That's most of the global population of the world. Why do we should give a fuck about what do you think as Piers Morgan? Why? If I have a script, a whole script, the God's words telling me you have an authority over women, who you think you are to object on that? Who gives a fuck about what do you think? I have legal authority. Fuck legal authority. I don't need a law to give me that. I have a higher law, which is not human law. It's a God's law. And it does give me the authority over it. She have the option to be under this authority or to be single. I'm not forcing her to live under this authority. She have to agree to be in this marriage institution If she agree, by definition, she will be under my authority. If she refused, she will be single. She might find simp like you, Piers Morgan, who believes man and woman are equal. Ha ha ha. Yeah. And live without authority. Great.
Over a woman. You do over a child if it's your child, because you are the legal appointed guardian of that child.
Understood.
You're not a legally appointed guardian or authority over your wife or female partner.
Legally appointed, absolutely not. I agree. However, when it comes to things like personal responsibility or personal safety, men, largely by society, are accepted. We're the protectors and providers. We can sit here and pretend that in the world we live in, if me and my wife were walking down the street and men were to come up and try and attack us, I wouldn't be the one fighting. But we both know in reality I would.
Right.
I have a degree of responsibility to protect her. So if I have a degree of responsibility to protect her physically, then the point I'm trying to make is I will do my best to make sure she's never putting herself in unsafe situations.
Do you wish you hadn't used the word authority?
The authority is something that she would give to me. She would come to me and say, how can I make sure I'm as safe as possible?
But I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to point out that's not what authority means.
If someone gives, a person can give
voluntary authority is not authority.
No, but that's...
Of course it is authority. Of course. The legal authority. I'm doing what the law says because I want to do what the law says. If I want to pass a red light, I will fucking pass it. I did it before many times. So if I stopped at a red light, at the traffic light, is someone forcing me to stop, or I'm pressing the brake in my car and stopping? Who's forcing me? Can the government force every single one of the population to follow every single law, or we agree to follow the law? If nobody agrees to follow the law, it is not a fucking law, and nobody can force anyone to force it. Nobody can enforce it. Yeah. So to submit to a higher power or higher authority, it does have to be, let's say, consensual. If I agree that this CEO of the company have more power than me when I sign the contract, the job offer with that company, I have to submit to this CEO regarding the work, of course. But I did agree in the beginning when I signed the contract. If I don't want to, I can never sign the contract. If you sign the contract, you have to submit. But that's all voluntarily from the beginning. You cannot sign the contract and then not follow the orders and doing your tasks. Why? Because I don't want to. No, you have the option before. When you sign the contract, it's mentioned that you will follow your superior leader instruction. After you take that decision, you will submit and follow the order. It's the same with women. The marriage institution give higher power and authority for men. If a woman accept, and here I'm talking about the Islamic institution, marriage institution, she can agree or not agree or do not agree. If she agreed for this contract, which is the marriage contract, if she agreed to that, she have to follow the orders. She have to submit for her man's will. If she don't want to submit to any man's will, she can be single. She can. That's okay. Nobody will force her. But if she agreed to the contract, you will follow the laws. You will follow the points mentioned in that contract, the conditions. Yes, you have to.
That's the point. If
It's
a
not.
woman, Piers,
Andrew, stop.
Piers, if a woman comes to me and says, I want you to keep me safe, she is handing me authority for her safety.
But do you understand the difference between having authority over somebody and somebody giving you permission to have authority?
Completely. I never said
one is consensual and one isn't.
But why are we pretending I do unconsensual things?
Because you literally say, I must have a degree of authority. I have to have some authority. And the point
only if I'm responsible for her safety. If I'm not responsible for her safety, I don't have authority.
If your position now is that with her permission, I would like to have authority when we go out at night to protect her.
Yeah, this permission is previously, before getting in a relation with me. Yes. If she did not if she did not give that permission, she will never be with me at all. If she do not consent to these conditions, she will never be with me from the beginning. So if she is with me, that means she's previously consented that I will have authority over her.
That's a different
That was
thing.
always my position.
But that's not what you said.
But that was always my position, Piers.
So again, I simply say to you,
It is what I said, though.
Do you wish you'd phrased it a different way?
No, because we're talking about long format copy where I'm talking about a woman who has come to me and said, you're responsible for making sure I'm safe. I said, well, then I have to make the decisions.
When an
which gives me
18-year-old
authority.
boy reads, I must have some authority over a woman, what do you think he thinks?
Well, I understand that. And I said this earlier when you tried to say I was backtracking, which I'm not doing.
No, actually, I'm not. I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm not trying to gotcha you.
Cool.
I'm trying to
Of course you are. You fucking liar.
work out exactly what you
I
actually
understand with massive fame comes massive responsibility. I understand that a percentage of the population are always going to take everything that's said by anybody out of context.
think. Would you change the wording of what you said?
No, I would just encourage people to watch my long format copy and understand it
Would
fully.
you tell an 18-year-old boy you don't have authority over women?
Absolutely.
You would say that?
Unless a woman comes to him and says, you're responsible for my safety, please make sure keep me safe. Like
I
my
see.
woman
Now
says,
that
comes to
Andrew
me.
Tate, I can sign up to.
Well, then we agree.
Yeah, but I don't agree with what you said before.
Because you're taking a soundbite from a 2-hour
yeah, but you haven't been
conversation.
taken out of context because I read you the entire sentence. It's very.
But you've
debatable.
ignored all the context around the sentence, my friend.
You
Yeah, he have very fucking low IQ to understand the concept of soundbite or taking a text out of context. He really do not have the intellectual capability to understand it.
can't ignore a sentence that says, I must have a degree of authority.
But you can when there's a 2-hour conversation where a woman is telling me if she makes me responsible for her safety and me explaining, well, if I'm responsible for your safety, I have the authority to make decisions. So yes, you've ignored all the context.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think they're...
Okay, listen here and listen very carefully, guys. This is very important. Listen. He do not have the fucking, like, he do not know the definition of words that he's using. And he's a big social media, and he's a big media figure.
There's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can.
That's true statistically.
A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging
Listen, guys.
a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well,
Yeah, that's totally true. And Piers Morgan think to marry a slut is a great thing. Let me show you here what does misogyny mean. Look at this, guys. Misogyny is a word that does have meaning. And if you want to know the meaning of words before using it, we have to go back to the dictionary. So we do not misuse the word. Look, what does misogyny mean? Here's Merriam-Webster dictionary. It is the hatred of, aversion to, or prejudice against women. Women with E, it is plural. Women as a sex. So if I hate women as a sex, as a whole, all women, all XX chromosome, I hate them all. that does mean that I'm misogynist. If I hate them, all of the gender, all of the sex as a woman, I hate all of them. That means that I'm a misogynist. If I have a preferences, if I says, okay, this woman is more desirable than that woman, that is not misogynist. That's called personal preference. And he does not have the minimum IQ score to understand this concept while it is very fucking simple. It is really simple. It's not a complex issue. We're not talking here about thermodynamic. We're not talking about quantum fucking physics. No, it is very easy and digestible concept. Who hate all female as a sex, that is misogynist. Who have personal preferences between categories of women, that's his personal preferences. He do not really hate women. He love those women, and he do not like those type of women. So that's a preference. That is not a real misogyny. And Piers Morgan do not understand this simple concept. That's why he think Andrew Tate is misogynist. Let's get back to it, guys.
Firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
Well, what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
No.
Did you listen? Did you catch it, guys? Being anti any woman at all is misogyny. So you have to love and respect every single woman in this fucking planet. You have to respect hawkers, porn stars, strippers, sluts, all type of them. You have to respect and like every single one of them to not be misogynist. That's fucking stupid. That's real idiotic. That's a very childish argument. You do not understand that what as a concept, what does the concept mean as a misogyny or being misogynistic or misogynist? No. He do not hate all women. He do not hate the woman as a gender or as a sex. He do not hate them. He says this option is better than this option, and they are both women. So if I like Mercedes, do I hate Lexus? No. Or do I hate cars? If I says I prefer the GL Maybach, okay, that's a great car. What do you think about Jeep Wrangler? I said, no, I'm not. No. Why do you hate car? Do you catch how stupid that sounds? I do not hate car. I think this one is better than that one. I prefer this car over this car. That does not mean I hate cars, you fucking idiot.
When I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, then ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely.
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you no.
Do you see the trap, guys? Did you catch the trap? You just accepted that this is a misogyny. He never accepted that this is misogyny. He says that does not mean that I'm a misogynist. He said, oh, you now accepted that this is misogyny. No, it is not. And he says it is not misogyny. You keep pushing very hard. Oh, yeah, you accepted. Yes. Just say yes. The trap doesn't work. He did not fall into it. Fucking idiot.
No, it's not.
So you don't think if you're saying slightly hateful things about a 25-year-old...
That's not slightly hateful.
Well, it is. You think you say that to a woman's face if she's 25?
It's not slightly hateful.
So you would go up to a 25-year-old woman and tell her exactly what I just read out.
Why would I walk up to a random 25-year-old woman?
Because you said it in public on the internet and it's been listened to.
Look at the childish argument. He says, oh, you will go to 25 years old woman and tell her that 19 years old woman is more beautiful than you and more desirable than you. Who says that? Like, you really have a fucking childish mind, Pierre. Yeah. I believe really Kathy Newman have a higher IQ than you. You are a shame Oh no, you are a shame on men journalists. You are really shame. I'm embarrassed to be in the same sex with you, Pierre Morgan. I'm really embarrassed to say Coach Kareem is a man and Piers Morgan is a man. What the fuck? Really? You have a very childish brain. So now you walk into the street, look for 25 years old woman and tell her that she's less desirable than 19 years old woman. Who will do that? You fucking idiot. The man is multi-millionaire. He's very famous and he have a great IQ level. He is really smart. If you think he will do that, you are the fucking idiot, not him. That's not realistic.
And watched by millions.
Look at look at Andrew Tate's face, and you'll understand. You'll understand the thing.
And millions of young
Correct.
impressionable.
When
So
you're,
you would go up to a 25-year-old woman and tell her exactly what I just read out.
why would
Look at his face. Look at his
I
face.
walk up to a random 25-year-old
Because you said it
woman
in public
and
on
say
the
that?
internet, and it's been listened to and watched by millions and millions of young
Correct.
impressionable boys.
Correct. There was a large panel. There was a conversation. There was hours longs of conversation. There were feminists attacking men for toxic masculinity and attacking me and saying things. And I said things back which were going to antagonize
But I think,
them.
see,
which you've done yourself a bunch of times.
I think a lot of allegations of toxic masculinity are not toxic.
Correct.
I do think that kind of sentence that I just read out, that paragraph, is actually toxic.
To have a preference, that means you are toxic. You hear me, guys? You are not allowed to have a preference as a man. If you have preference and you prefer a category, you prefer a type of woman over the other, you are toxic. You got me? So you're not allowed to have a preference as a man. You have to love all women. You have to respect all women. And that's not practical. That's idiotic. That will never work in today's society because most people are ignorant. Most women have no virtue. So that does not work. That will never work. That's very idiotic, childish, and stupid to respect everyone. No, no. Respect is earned. And attraction have personal preferences. Like we have standards. Who does not have standard, who is idiot. He is idiot who doesn't have any standard. Who love all women, who respect all women. Idiot or a simp. You can be a big simp, but do not try to shove this into our throat, Piers Morgan. Be a simp yourself.
If you genuinely mean that, and you say you wouldn't say it to a woman's face, but you said it in public about women of that age, I do think that's misogynist. And I think
it's not misogynist. Fucking idiot.
You probably do too.
I don't think it's misogynistic. I understand why it can be insulting.
So you wouldn't say it to a woman's face?
Well, it depends. You're making out like I'm walking around the street going up to random 25.
Well, effectively, you're doing it to tens of millions of people online. There's no difference.
Not at all. We're discussing a topic. We were discussing the ideal age of a man.
Should young boys, right, in their teens, are you comfortable that they would have that mindset? Be honest.
I think that young boys in their teens lack life experience. They lack nuance. And they need to be very, very careful what they're digesting online, whether it's my content or anybody else's.
Yeah,
I think
you know for a fact millions of them are digesting exactly what you're saying.
Completely. The entire internet to a degree. I think any subject you can find, there's going to be a whole heap of
I
content.
come back to the Joe Rogan thing, Andrew. Is that a lot of what you say?
When he loses a point, he just jump to other point.
I agree with.
Yeah.
Right. I do genuinely. I've written a lot of stuff you said. A lot of the stuff you talk about, I think, yeah, he's got a good point, right? So we agree about a lot of things. But when I read that kind of thing, I'm like, how much of that is you? How much of that is some act? Do you regret saying stuff like this?
I don't.
And actually, do you see it as weakness to admit you shouldn't have said something like that?
No, I don't live with regret. I think what's happened is that, like I said, long format content, arguments with feminists, arguments with the toxic masculine crowd, arguments with the left. And they're going to take a small clip, small sentence from ours, and they're going to try and paint me as a
But
villain.
I'm not left or right.
I don't know what you are, Piers.
Exactly. That's my point. No, but that's my point.
And I understand And you're doing exactly as I knew would happen on this interview, which is because you're a busy man. You're not going to watch hours and hours and hours of video.
Actually, I have watched hours and hours of video, and I'm going to come to the stuff where I agree with you, and I'm going to come to the stuff about your censorship, which
Sure.
I have issues with. So this is, it's a long interview, right?
Sure.
I just thought off the top, you said to me, and you were quite bold about it. Well, go on, then let's go through these.
And you should keep going. I will sit here and stand by what I said. I believe that
on that, I've just read to you then.
Yeah.
Do you wish you hadn't said that?
I understand how it's been misconstrued. I understand how it's been weaponized against me. Do I regret it because it's been weaponized and used against me? Well, that's slightly annoying.
That's not why I want you to
Did I
regret
at the time mean what I said in the context of the conversation, which obviously you're not familiar with and the people at home are not familiar with? No, I meant what I said.
The 25-year-old women, they've just talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up.
Well, there's a whole bunch of context and conversation around that's been missed, and I
don't think I'm missing much context.
Well, I encourage people who are interested to go watch it.
But I mean, I've just read out 3 sentences on the bounce there. I don't think there's any context I'm missing. I mean, you made it pretty clear what you think about.
You're missing your balls, Piers.
About the difference between 18 and 90-year-old women.
I wasn't talking about myself, even. I was talking with a Muslim guy who was on the panel, and he was explaining how youth is very valued in most parts of the world, and why virginity is valued in most parts of the world. The feminists were arguing against it, and I was sitting there, actually very much like you, a mediator between the two, explaining why in most of the world still today, perhaps not in the Western world, virginity is coveted, youth is coveted in most of the world, and throughout all of human history. And I was sitting there making the point, explaining why in certain parts of the world they think how they do,
well,
even though it's very different to the Western world. So I was making a point, mediating between two groups very similar to yourself. The conversation has been misunderstood. They've taken this clip of it and it's been weaponized and used against me. I understand that is because I'm now the most famous Google person on the planet. It's inconvenient, sure, but I'm definitely not a danger to women in any regard. I date women 25, 26, 27 years old all the time. None of them are offended by the things
I don't think you're a danger to women. I think the danger, if it concerns you, the danger is the influence you have on young men to have this kind of mindset about women.
Yeah, to have some balls, like to grow some balls and to have a strong opinion, being assertive, being disagreeable, and like to be a real man. That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous from your point, right?
Women. And that's really where I'm trying to get to what you really believe and how much you've just shot off because you think it's like entertaining and you haven't really given it much thought. And whether now you're a bit older and you've had all the fallout, whether part of you is thinking, actually, if I had, as Joe Rogan says, if you hadn't said stuff like this, you'd probably still be on all these platforms. You'd be massively more popular, massively more famous, massively richer. So I'm really just trying to get to, on the blatantly misogynist stuff, do you just wish you hadn't said it?
With great power comes great responsibility. It was certainly said before the great power came. It's inconvenient to a degree. However, like I said at the time, with the context of the conversation, I know that I'm not saying things which I believe to be detrimental to the world. However, they've been misconstrued and they've been misunderstood.
If a 25-year-old woman was watching this, would you say, I'm sorry for saying that?
Well, I wouldn't want anyone to be offended by anything I say, but I say things that offend. And this is the thing that's interesting, Piers. Please let me finish.
But you're behaving like a politician. But hang on, you could say I'm interrupting.
You do,
but you're answering a different question to the one I asked you. So, as an interviewer, you're behaving.
Sure. Okay,
Okay, you accept that. Let's accept we both got on. Okay. So again, my point is simply, if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, "Look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that"?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
He's referring here to Muslims. Yeah, not allowed to drive. There's no even a single country today on the earth that not allow women to drive. Even in Saudi Arabia, like women are allowed to drive since years. So you need a fucking update, Piers Morgan. You're a fucking idiot again. And not allowed to be sluts. Oh, that's a good thing. So there's a part of the world that women are modest. Oh, that women have dignity. What? Really? There's a part of the world that women are not a sexual fucking object, fleshing their skin to everyone. Whoa, what a horrible place of the world. There's a part of the world where women are still getting married and having children and building families. What? Really? What a horrible place. You have to be all like us in United Kingdom. The average age of of women to get married is 31 years old, and she will buy 5 cats and 2 dogs and die alone. You have to be all like us. Really? Really? Half of the newborn babies do not know who the father is. It's out of marriage institution. Oh, you have to be like us. You have to be like London, like United Kingdom. All women in the planet have to be sluts and sexual objects, right? What a great place. You have to break the family institution in all of the world to be like the West. You believe that, Piers Morgan, right? Because you are better. You are better at failing. You are better at having demographical catastrophe. You are better at breaking the family institution. You are better of making spinsters and leftover women. You are better at decreasing the population of your country. That's what you are better at, you fucking idiot.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with it.
But is that the kind of world for a woman that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
So you're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend,
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try.
He's trying to force him to apologize. He's trying very fucking hard to force him to apologize. Really. He's trying his ass off to force him to apologize.
And say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
That doesn't tell me what you think.
then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth? Then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about. It's not a truth I created.
Hang on. You're doing it again. What do you mean that's a truth in other parts of the world? That's what you said. It's not. You're not talking about another part of the world. You're talking about what you believe is the difference between 18 and 90-year-olds and 26-year-olds.
I was talking about
It's your belief.
I was talking about what the people on the panel believe the difference is.
So what do you think the difference is?
I think the difference is age.
What's the difference then?
Well, then a 26-year-old's older than a 19-year-old.
And so you stand by what you said about talking to the guys, being to the club more times, being effed and dumped more times.
Well,
you believe that or not?
No, there's plenty of 26-year-old women who have been with one man or virgins.
Right.
Andrew Tate here is backing up, guys. Andrew Tate here is a little bit backing up in a diplomatic way. And that's a shock. That's a shock. That's not Andrew Tate who we know.
So you don't believe that?
I don't think that the age is the only thing that's going to decipher how many men and women.
Right, so if you don't actually believe what you said, just say sorry.
It's not about not believing what I'm saying. It's about you understanding that there's large conversations going on.
I'm just reading back stuff you've said.
I know
and
you
I'm
are.
asking you, do you believe it?
I believe that it's more likely a 26-year-old's had more partners than a 19-year-old.
Right. You don't know that.
I don't know that. You're right.
In fact, there could be absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever.
Completely.
There's a probability and statistically probability that says, 26 years old, most probably she have more partners than 19 years old. And that's statistically true. That's most probable. Yes. So when I have a general idea or general statement about the majority, the anomaly, which is statistically insignificant, does not break the rule or does not change the rule. So yes, with more years, it's more probable that the female in the West will have more bodies than the younger one. Yeah, the average body count for 30 years old is not the same as the average body count of 20 years old. That's very basic. That's very basic. Yes, she lived more, 10 years. You think in these 10 years, she know no guy? What are she, a nun or a regular girl? A regular girl, like the average girl, go to clubs, go to yacht, go to parties, they go to hang out, they mingle with men, they go for one night stands. What does that mean? More body count. Yes, yeah, that's statistically more probable than the other presumption.
Completely agree.
So why say it? Why stigmatize all 26-year-old women?
It's not about, we're repeating ourselves here.
Well, not really. I'm just trying to get to what you actually believe.
I believe that men find youth attractive in general. I believe that in the context of the conversation,
25-year-old women aren't old.
I agree with you. They're not, especially I'm old. I'm a lot older than that.
Hmm.
The point I was making was part of mediating a panel, a conversation between feminists and some Muslim guys.
I get it.
Okay,
I get it.
good.
But
So
you
you understand why I said the sentence.
But as far as I know, you weren't espousing what a Muslim man might think. You were espousing what you think.
I was espousing what the people on the panel believed.
But you were saying what you think.
I feel like you're trying to pin me down.
If it's not what you believe, just say, I don't believe that.
What part wouldn't I believe?
Well, you tell me which part you don't believe. There's the sentence. Which part would you now say you don't believe?
I believe that 25-year-old women perhaps have had, because they've been alive longer, maybe have had more partners, but I don't believe that makes them a bad person.
Right. But you understand that the way you phrased it makes every 25-year-old
I
woman
understand.
feel a bad person.
No, I don't think so.
Of course you do. You're not stupid, Ad. Come on.
Piers.
Andrew, you're not stupid. You know what that sounds like to any 25, 26-year-old woman.
Completely. And
right? So you have maligned every 25, 26-year-old woman with that statement. And I'm simply asking you, to all those who are not of the type of women that you've described it, are you sorry?
I don't want anybody to be offended by anything I say. I want to be a positive force in the world. I don't want anybody to hear what I say and make them feel bad about themselves. I want all people to live righteous and good, whether they're male or female. And anybody who's
you lead a righteous life?
I think I do, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
You boasted openly of having 6, 7 partners at once. So is that righteous? I'm not taking there's no moral view from me. Simply asking you what you think righteous means.
I think righteous is living true to your heart and knowing that you're doing good by people, not snaking anybody, not lying to anybody. I know I live a very righteous life.
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
How many times?
Plenty. I believe in love between men and women.
I mean, real love, where it's,
I believe.
How many times would you say?
Enough. I believe men and women are a beautiful union. I think we're slightly different, but when we work together, we're the most powerful force in the world.
How many women have you loved?
I don't know, Piers. A few.
Give me a ballpark. 5, 10, 20?
Let's say.
You don't forget how many people you've been in love with.
Let's say 10. I mean, I've been in love, and I certainly believe that men and women, when they work together, it's the most beautiful force on the planet. I believe in family. I believe in children. I believe in.
If you believe in family and children and love, why are you single?
I'm not single.
Well, you're not married. That's what I mean.
Well, if I was married, the last thing I would do is advertise it to the feral psychopaths on the internet. So
I'm not a feral psychopath.
Well,
he is a real idiot. He really have no IQ. He said, "I'm not advertising for the psychopaths on the internet." He says, "I'm not a psychopath, but there's millions will watch this interview. You fucking idiot." That's who he talk about. It's private, personal life. No.
Can be friend earlier.
Can be debated, Piers. But the point I'm making as a whole is that all of these.
Do you want to get married? Is my point.
No, but let's please for a second.
You don't, or you do?
Let's please for a second, because you've interrupted me so many times. I've failed to.
Well, actually, I've only interrupted you just to be clear when you've actually answered a different question.
Cool. Well, then on all these points
you've admitted that.
On all these points you're making on repeat, you're taking these sentences and on repeat you're you're weaponizing them against me.
I'm not weaponizing anything.
Okay, it's fine.
No. You're weaponizing the weaponizing, which doesn't exist.
No problem.
But you said to me, "Come on, bring it on. Read out all the things that you think are blatant misogyny." All I've done is literally read out all the things we identified from all the research that I thought were blatantly misogynist. And giving you the chance to respond. And the only time I've interrupted you is when you've tried to answer a completely different question.
Understood, Piers. But these things were said in large context where often I'm talking about
How many times, guys, he repeated the same fucking point. These sentences are said in a long podcast, and there's a larger context. that you have to understand to get my view, to get my full view, and to really understand where I'm coming from. He repeated that at least like 15 times until now. And the fucking idiot that interview him, he do not have the intellectual capability to understand that. Keep repeating, keep interrupting, keep cutting him off, and keep putting him on trap after trap after trap after trap, like a sequence of traps. He's trying to shame him. It is a feminine tactic, Piers Morgan. That's fucking shame.
For example, on the same podcast where you've read one of them sentences from, I was talking about how it's a man's duty to die by a woman. And the guy asked me, he said, if 10 men with knives attacked your woman, wouldn't you just, I said, yeah, I'd stand and die. I'd never just run away because I have a duty as a man. I must die on the spot to protect her honor and my honor. I'm talking about a man having responsibility to his duties. I'm talking about the old traditional ways of masculinity. And what happens is a few sentences from such a long conversation is taken and used against him.
I understand that.
So I want you to understand that I'm talking about protecting and providing for women. I'm talking about a man making
Do you
sure
want
a
to get
woman...
married?
No, but we have to all feed into each other, Piers. I'm talking about
It's not a hard question.
No, but I'm talking about protecting and providing for a woman. I'm talking about a man being responsible for her safety.
I understand.
So of course I believe in men and women. Of course I believe in love. Of course I believe in marriage. Of course I believe in family.
No, but none
The
of that was
idea
my
that I
question.
don't believe in the
Andrew,
idea that I don't believe in these things
I
is
didn't ask
crazy.
you if you believed in it. I asked you if you're going to get married.
One day, absolutely.
You'd like to.
If I'm not married already, I will be married one day. If I'm not,
Well, you might be secretly married.
I could be married, correct.
Why would you not tell me either way?
Why would I advertise to the feral psychopaths of the world who have tried their very best to destroy me for an opinion about my private life and the things that are most sacred to me? Why
Well, you
would
think
I do
if
that?
you said you were married, everyone would hate you?
I don't know about people hate me. It's about me understanding that I'm a hard target, but I am very, very protective of the people I care about.
Right. But you believe in the concept of marriage.
Completely. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
What do you think?
We talked about a man giving a woman away.
Okay.
I believe in marriage more than anybody. In
here's
fact,
my-
I believe in marriage in, no, please. I
Okay.
believe in marriage in the traditional sense. I believe a man has a duty to stand up and be a real man. I believe that the problem with the world today that we are facing is that not enough men are sticking to the age-old ways of masculinity. I believe that me standing up and saying a man must protect a woman and provide for her, so he needs to make sure that she's safe.
That's the beta side of hypergamy, guys. That's the beta side of hypergamy, because the mainstream media have like a very hard time digesting the other part, like the authority side. Yeah.
He needs a degree of authority to
I have
protect
no
her.
problem with.
But people do have a problem with it.
I'm not sorry.
And that's the world we're in now.
Andrew, I'm over here.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with what you just said. Here's where my problem comes, right? There are a lot of clips of you floating around on the internet, as you know. One of them has you saying, bang out the machete, boom in her face, grip her by the neck, shut up, bitch. In another, you say, slap, slap, grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. When people see that,
He is doing the same thing again. He's doing the same thing again. He's taking one sentence out of context. In this video, what he's talking about, he says that a woman is attacking him with a machete and banged the machete out of her hand. She's attacking him, and he will defend himself. But he makes it look like he is encouraging men to do harm to women. That's very fucking childish.
those clips and
They
hear you say
misunderstand
those
them.
things,
Agreed.
well, I don't think that it's not hard to misunderstand it.
It is.
You might say that it's consensual. Other people would say, whether it's consensual or not, that's a very ugly way to talk about women.
Completely. Now let's watch.
Hitting them with machetes.
No, watch the whole video. It's a girl coming at me with a machete and me saying, here, slap the machete out of her hand.
I
She's
understand.
attacking me.
I
So you don't
understand.
understand. This is the exact point.
do
The
understand.
No, people don't watch them in full. And this is actually what's interesting. And please don't interrupt me on this point. Social media has changed in modern times. YouTube 5 years ago was 5, 6, 7, 8 minute long videos. Now we have TikTok, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, YouTube shorts, Instagram stories. Now anything you produce that's long form is cut down to very, very short form. They're interested in clicks, they're interested in engagement.
Of course.
They find
But
the
you
most
benefited from all
they
that.
find the most controversial clips they can
And Andrew,
on purpose.
You benefited from all that.
Everybody benefits from social media views, as do you.
Your, was it the Hustler? What is it
I had
called?
an online school,
Called,
Hustlers University.
right. And their whole job was to promote your clips, make you rich and famous. So you benefited from this system, the one you now profess to hate. You benefited from
I
all
never
that.
said I hated
You
it.
clickbaited like the best of them.
I never said I hated it. I'm saying what happened. I don't hate it. I don't hate social media. I think it's a very powerful force. I don't hate the social media. I'm saying
The point is, I think you can talk. Look, you can talk to girlfriends of yours, maybe a secret wife. I don't know. It's entirely up
or
to
two.
you. Or two. Maybe you've got 10 wives. That's your business. I don't care, right? My only thing is, I don't care what you do in private. If it's consensual between you and another woman, you can do what you like, right? It's your life. I believe in freedom and liberty. It's when you say it in public, it's the influence that this kind of thing has on young men.
Agree.
Right. And I speak to someone with 3 sons, right? It's who are, by the way, they're intrigued by you. They're fascinated, right? You're a big thing in that world of TikTok and so on. So they all are aware of you and what you say. So they're all looking. And when they see things like the machete thing, I get the context because I'm a 57-year-old guy who's been around the block a bit, and I can get what you've said, and you responding to a particular scenario which you'd created where a woman.
But it can be misunderstood.
I understand. So my point to you is, given that you know it can be misunderstood, do you regret saying things like this on camera where it can be disseminated by less intelligent young males who think that is actually what they should be doing to women?
And finally, we get to the point of the issue, which is the point I tried to make at the very beginning. When I made a video before I was famous that got 500 views, me being concerned that 1% of people will misunderstand it was not relevant. Where you start getting 5.
Okay, they keep repeating the same points, guys. Let me just pass it a little bit.
Ever. So I don't know why they have taken some random person I've. That's a.
That whenever he sees an effeminate male stranger, he gets an overwhelming urge to murder them. He loves podcasts. He listens to a lot of podcasts. I know he's listened to Andrew Tate.
Whoa. Let's stop for a second. Let's be professional here, Piers, because you're a professional as am I. First, she said, did you say that my father went? She said, my father has gone.
Her father.
That's a full-grown man, firstly. So we're talking about my impact on children. You just talked about a full-grown man here. Secondly, I've never talked about murdering effeminate men in anything online ever, in any context ever. So I don't know why they have taken some random person.
What Piers Morgan doing here, guys, he's trying to frame him for some, let's say, crimes that committed by other unknown men. So there's a man who did a crime, who killed another man, and his daughter says that I'm not wondering he's watching Andrew Tate. So if there is, come on, there is near, like in the last 45 days, near 15 million view on my social media. If one of these people did a crime, one of them did a crime, can somebody come to me? He says, he's watching Coach Kareem. That's why he committed that crime. That is an absolute garbage. That's an absolute garbage. That's a type of garbage that should make people laugh. I do not control people. And if like 500,000 person is watching me, one of them made a crime, like 1 out of 500,000 or 1 million. So can you blame me? Okay, can you reward me for the other of the million, the 900,999 person that you did not make any crime? Can you give me money for that? Why are you blaming me if 1 per million of the follower did something wrong? I do not have a power over them. Like, can you reward me for the thousands of people who's sending me emails, thanking me for improving their life and for being a positive influence on their life? Can you shout out about this? Can you give me the credit? No. There's a one man in the corner of the world, in the middle of nowhere, who did a crime. And by the way, he used to watch like Andrew Tate clips. So now we should frame Andrew Tate for this murder or this crime. What? You fucking idiot! He have a very low IQ. He have like intellectual disabilities. I really believe that.
Person I've never met in the world who's full grown, an adult, and come to their own conclusions who I've never met and lumped his name in with mine. That is absolutely unfair on every level. I didn't read this BuzzFeed. I didn't read this BuzzFeed article, but after hearing the first point, I know it's trash. That is complete Garbage.
What
To
is
sit
your-
and say
what
that
is your
I'm the
view-
reason this man believes what he believes.
I've
that is
seen a
disgusting.
quote from you, and you can tell me what you feel here about this.
Sure.
You talk about people don't want to see men dressed up in dresses. Transgender.
That's
people.
not exactly what I said.
What did you say?
I said the reason I am so popular and I'm so famous is that there's a large contingent of men who don't want to wear makeup, who still want to make money, go to the gym, be strong, drive a fast car, be traditionally masculine, and don't want to be shamed for that, and they don't want to be called toxic for that. That is the reason I'm so massively famous. That is what I said.
What do you think of transgender people?
That's nothing to do with me. I'm not transgender, and I don't understand the issue like they do. They
Are
can
you
do whatever.
transphobic? Do you consider yourself that?
Transphobic? What? Afraid?
Well, it kind of, yeah. You have a
I don't live in.
phobia.
I don't live in fear, my friend. I have no
You
problem.
have a dislike of transgender people.
I don't know any transgender people.
Do you have a dislike of what they stand for, what they are?
No. Why would I?
I don't know.
That's not my issue. That's not my issue. And that's actually quite interesting because when I was attacked, a lot of these stupid articles like BuzzFeed, because it's ridiculous, that first point proves anyone with a brain knows that that's garbage. When they attacked me, they lump a whole bunch of things in together. They say misogynistic, racist, transphobic. They just put them all together at random. I'm mixed race.
By the way,
I don't know where they get these. They just get these buzzwords and put them in a sentence.
By the way, I completely agree.
It's
and
crazy.
I've had the same thing done to me.
Okay, well,
and
there
I'm
you go
not
then.
calling you anything. I'm asking you what you personally believe you are.
It's not an issue I discuss. What I do discuss is
So you
that
support transgender people?
I support individual liberty. I'm a libertarian.
Yeah. So you support transgender people?
Sure. Why not?
He's under pressure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but my point is, as a whole, you're saying that I'm saying I don't want to see men in dresses. I'm saying no. I'm
You
saying
support gay people?
sure.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a large contingent of men in the world who like the idea of the traditional masculine view of the world, who feel happy when they watch 80s action heroes with big muscles and they run around. And there's nothing toxically masculine about having a fast car and a beautiful girlfriend and making a bunch of money. And
Nothing at all.
Absolutely. And those are the people who are my fans.
I'm
saying,
but the problem is, okay, I'm going to interrupt you just to say this. No.
Okay, but you're saying that I have a problem with men in dresses. I'm saying no. The people who watch my
I've asked you
content.
that question. You've answered.
Yeah, but the people who watch my content don't want to see men in dresses. Clearly, I don't wear a dress. That's the point
That's
I'm
not
making.
why they're watching your content.
No.
Because you're not wearing a dress.
No, but that's the point I'm making. That's the point I was making. There's a large contingent of men who are not interested in the things that perhaps the YouTube algorithm's trying to feed them.
I think there are
and they
lots
find
of.
my content.
Look, when you support masculinity and masculine traits, I'm with you. Right?
Okay, so you agree a man
No, you're not. You're a fucking simp. You think men have no authority over women. No, you do not.
should protect and provide for a woman?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you agree if you were walking down the street with a woman, you'd be responsible with her safety?
Yeah.
Why? You are equal partners, you fucking idiot. Why do you think you should protect her? We can flip the argument here, guys. We can really flip the argument because he believes it's equal partnership. Okay, why do you have to protect her? If it's equal partnership, why do you have to protect her? Why do you have to provide for her? She's a solo individual. She's equal partner. She's equally partner in your relationship. Why do you have to provide for her? She can buy her food by herself, and she can defend herself. Like why should you have to protect her or provide for her? Why? While it's equal partnership, right?
Cool, absolutely. So if that woman wanted to walk alone,
I don't think I have authority over the woman as we do that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're a simp.
Okay, so let me ask you another question, Piers, because we are professionals. Let's say your woman decided she wanted to take a nice little walk through the south side of Chicago at 2 a.m. and she wanted you to go with her, and you were responsible for fighting and dying on the spot if she was attacked. Don't you think you would say to her, no, we're not going out right now. It's not safe.
Yes.
Okay, so you'd have authority to make the decision. So
No,
we
I
agree.
wouldn't.
So
I would say I
we
don't
agree.
think you should. If she decides to, it's her own volition.
Well, if she decides, you're not going to stop
I have
her.
no power to stop her.
Completely.
But you think you do.
No, I don't think I have power
You
to stop
clearly
her.
do.
No, I think I have power to make the decision. I think, no, that's not
So
sensible.
if you have the power to make the decision, you have the power to stop her.
No, because
And
if
that's
she-
where we differ. And that's why I think it's interesting about you. I don't think you really think through what you're saying.
I think through what I'm saying so carefully.
Yeah, but Andrew, what
Piers.
you've literally just said is that you have the power to stop
No,
her.
I said I don't have the power to stop her. I'm not going to lock her in the room. I'm saying that.
So if she wants to go on her own,
then she's going to go.
Then
But
you
as a
don't have authority to stop her.
Okay, but as a couple, if we're going to sit there and decide if we're going to take this,
You asked me, do
You have to mention, like he forgot to mention something. Like if I was in his shoes, I would say she will go as a single woman. She will go out as a single woman. Yes. If she want to fight me on my decision and she want to go out in a dangerous neighborhood, in a dangerous time, and that's very risky. And I said, no, don't go. And she want to go anyway. She will go, but she will go as a single woman. And that will be very clear.
Others, would I feel a sense of responsibility for her safety? Absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So
Would
let
I
me finish,
have the
Piers.
power or authority to stop her doing it? No.
No, of course not. So let me finish, Piers. You're not going to stop her walking out the hotel. Of course, it's her decision. She's a sovereign individual. My point is that usually in a couple, you'd sit there as a team and you discuss, and perhaps on certain issues, the woman will know more about X and she'll decide X, and the man might know more about Y and he'll decide Y. So I'm saying if we're as a couple and we're sitting there and deciding as a couple, as a team, and she says she wants to take this late night stroll, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to veto this one. I'm going to call veto.
Do you believe in
it's dangerous,
right.
which to a degree would give me.
He's over explaining it, guys. Andrew here is over explaining it because Pierre Newman is refusing to understand it. So he's over explaining it. And that's very sad. That's very sad. It is very long interview, guys. We will stop right here. You can find it on YouTube, like very easily. Like just write Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate interview. There is the full interview, which is this one, and a short clip of it, which is 6 minutes. I believe Rolo now is doing a video breaking down this interview, and a lot of people did break down to this interview. You will feel, Piers Morgan, that you are a fucking idiot. You are the female, like the male version of Kathy Newman. So what you're saying is you hate women. He says, no, I would like a younger woman. So you hate women. No, this is my preference. I think younger woman is more desirable and attractive. So what you're saying is you are misogyny and proud of it, right? That's what he's doing, actually. She's a good friend of his, by the way. Piers Morgan says in another interview with Dr. Jordan Peterson, says, Kathy Newman is a very good friend of mine. Yeah, of course she will. Like, I believe she's your twin, or like you used to work together because you have the same tactic and you are both stupid as fuck. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to support the channel if you like this episode. I believe some of you was laughing. Thank you for watching to the end. Do not forget the like button, the subscription button. If you would like to support the channel, there's a PayPal link down, and do not forget to write me a comment, your opinion about the mentorship program, which is the man's gathering online. Of course, there's the subscription fees, monthly subscription fees. Powerful and intellectual individuals, and they all men. I don't need any woman, any females in this community. It's going to be online community. That gathering of a man talking to each other about their problem, improving each other's lives, giving each other's advices, getting benefit of their of others' experience, and that's going to be a great suggestion. What do you think? I'm thinking. What do you think, guys? Leave me the comments down in the comments section. Thank you, guys, and I wish you a great night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.